888-374-6465. If you missed it last night, the All-Star game is tonight. Home Run Derby was last night, and your winner is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. His daddy, first-time father-son have ever won it, and his daddy could hit, boy. Buddy, you're on the Titan More Hotline. How you doing?
Good morning to you, Shane. I want to know how I get in the weather you got behind you there, man. It looks like a beautiful
Well,
day here.
buddy, you gotta travel different places,
I
and
know,
you
I
like that?
know.
You
I
like that
do. I
that
do like
sky?
that. Orange and blue, man. What could be better than that, right?
Yeah. Speaking of orange and blue, buddy, we're going to talk to former Gator strength coach a little bit later, Rich Tuten. I was fortunate or unfortunate, I never had Rich Tuten. As soon as I came in as a freshman, he left, and then when I graduated, he came back.
Hmm.
But I was never a big workout guy, and boy, he wore people out. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good because maybe I would have got drafted if I'd worked out under him. But Gators get a big pickup offensive lineman, big 6'8" dude, I think from Maryland or Virginia,
Virginia.
Westfall. What
Virginia.
can you tell us about it? I know you had Allie Peak Wilbur on your program. She had like the breaking story.
She did. Not just a breaking story, she had the breaking interview. She killed everybody else. She got the first interview. I listened to it. I had Allie on some last night talking about it. Here she is, a mom with two sets of twins, doing all the taking care of Eric, which is a full time job. And now she's killing people, the whole organization, like On Three and whatever. This mother of four scored a big last night interview and did it highly professional. I am so impressed with Allie Pete Wilbur. She is something special. She is if she's not already a budding star in this business. That's why I love having her on every Wednesday night. Had her on last night because she scooped the world. This guy looks like he's enjoying. This is a big get for a lot of reasons, Shane. Look, anytime you get a 4-star, it's a big get. But this is where Billy has focused his energy on the offensive line. He wants to have that all buttoned up. And it looks like for 2025, he's got it buttoned up. I've seen a little video on this guy. He's massive. He's got quick feet. He's very intelligent. His parents are thrilled because they're coming down to live apparently in Florida. I asked him about that. He said they like the fact they got low taxes and great weather. And then most of all, they like the coaches, they like the university and the educations. So he's a poster boy for recruiting for Billy Napier.
Yeah, 6'8", 335, big fella. So yeah, that's a good get, no question about it.
And beat out Georgia, Clemson, Arkansas, all the dudes.
Yeah, Greg asked, what years was he the strength coach, referring to Rich Tuten? He was here, the Galen Hall, Charlie Pell, for I'd have to look it up, for about 6 years. Then in 87, he left. I think he went to North Carolina. And then once I graduated, Spurrier hired him back. He was here, I think, until 95, and then he was with the Broncos for like
Right.
16 or
I
17 years.
remember when he was in the Broncos. I was past my time, but he was very well thought of out in Denver.
Yeah. So Reggie says this will open the door for somebody out of IMG who seems to now be a Florida lean. I don't know. Like I
Well, there's
said,
a
I don't
running
call.
back from Gainesville, right? I can't keep up with it. I got
Well, they
talk.
say he's from Gainesville. I've never. I mean, maybe he was born here,
He
but
didn't
I
play
don't.
here. He played IMG.
Yeah, he's never played in any of the high schools here.
Yeah.
So, buddy, I want to talk to you before we move on. This Pat Fitzgerald story, we talked about it briefly yesterday. Look, he was a tremendous player at Northwestern. Had some ups and down years, but Northwestern is Northwestern. He's really done a great job with that football program. And I just don't know what to believe in this story. Obviously, he is fired now. Initially, it was a 2-week suspension, and then less than 48 hours later, now the president at Northwestern, they fired him. He's got his agent, big time law firm that people don't want to mess around with because I believe he's owed like $42 million. Money's not an issue at Northwestern, but I read some of the articles that supposedly the hazing that was happening. I've never in all my years of being in locker rooms or on teams
Mm-hmm.
heard of any of that type of hazing. Being taped to a goalpost, or
Get your hair shaved,
just,
all that
having
stuff.
to carry guys' equipment,
Yeah.
or you have to bring donuts. That type of hazing is what happens in college and professional sports. The stuff that I read blew me away. Now, whether it's true or not, because you hear about a lot of people in the sports world that know him very well, speak of his high character, all that. I've never met him. I just have a hard time believing that stuff was going on. Maybe I'm crazy, but we'll see. Andy says on here the Northwestern baseball program is also being looked at. Maybe it's something these Northwestern athletes do that the coaches aren't aware of. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, buddy?
Well, I find it hard to believe they could do without the coaches knowing. That's number one. Number two, I don't know Pat Fitzgerald. I know people who know him. I know he's considered to be a high character guy. The program has been really, really, really done well, and they represented the good things about college football, in my opinion, academically and otherwise. Competing in the Big Ten with a program that was considered to be a doormat, like the Vanderbilt of the SEC, and I was just shocked by this. Now, I will say, apparently, this whole deal with the story among those who, well, leading the way, the student newspaper, apparently had a lot of reporting. Now, you can't discount these kids. They're smart. They're not dumb. If they are right and they got it, that'll win a Pulitzer Prize for a student newspaper. I've done these kinds of stories before. They're hard to do. You got to get evidence. I did one at FSU, not me personally, but my guys. And when I was at the St. Pete Times, Larry Jones was there. He did all kinds of stuff like that. Had him calling on their chicken wire, all kind of stuff, and trying to run. And did run off a lot of players. We put a reporter up in Tallahassee. He stayed there for 3 weeks. He talked to every player that left the program, and we got them to sign affidavits to make sure we got it right. And we broke the story. We called Coach Jones down to St. Pete, said, "Coach, we got to talk about this." He denied everything. Got up and walked out of the room and said, "Coach, you ought to sit down. This is not going to get better." He said, basically, F you, and walked out. And then not even 6 months later, he was fired. So I didn't know Larry Jones, but this sounds out of character for a guy like Pat Fitzgerald, Shane. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and I mean, you've had plenty of coaches or like, student coaches, other players that have played for him support him. And then you have a handful of guys that are saying this is true, blah, blah, blah. So they'll get to the bottom of it. But it's bad timing. I will say that for Northwestern.
Boy, is it
Uh,
ever.
because it's one of those deals where, you promote within, but if this was actually happening, those coaches are aware of it as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like you got to clean
Tanks
house,
the whole program. Tanks the whole program.
but you can't do that at this point. So it'll be an interesting story to follow. But yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Pat Fitzgerald. So we shall see. Buddy, I got a text on the Titan Mark text line last night. It's from I don't know who it's from. They don't say, but they screenshot, I guess, off of Twitter from the On Three Sports account, and it says On Three's top 10 most ambitious NIL collectives. And here's the top 10 that they say. And his question was, where is UF? What are they doing? Number one, it has Tennessee's Spry Sports Group. Two, the 12th Man Fund at A&M. Three, the Oregon Division Street. Four, the Texas One Fund. Five, the Miami Canes Connection, John Ruiz. Six, Florida State, the Battle's End. Seven, Southern Cal House of Victory. Eight, Arkansas's One Arkansas NIL. Nine, Ole Miss's The Grove Collective. And 10, West Virginia Country Roads Trust. Now, like I said, I don't know what Tennessee ain't out recruiting us. Oregon's not out recruiting us. Miami ain't. Florida State's not. Southern Cal's not. Arkansas's not. Ole Miss isn't. And West Virginia. So I don't know what this is about, but Florida Victorious obviously is doing their job.
I mean, that's so convoluted. I answer that as I don't know. And I'll guarantee you something else. The writer of this didn't know either. He made it up. All right. How's he going to prove that? Anybody
Yeah.
can make a list. Shane, we should come on with a list every week of something. Okay. Shane and Buddy's list on worst hamburgers or whatever it might be. People can make lists. And this is one of the problems we have now with the credibility of what's being put out there. I'm into a column I started writing 3 or 4 days ago about some guy in Tennessee. I don't know who, I've never heard of him before. I can't remember his name, but I saw his podcast. He had a big orange tee in the back. And he went out and flatly stated that DJ Lagway was going to Clemson. And he quoted some guy who was a friend of a Miami coach. Now, that's not a real great source. This guy, and I found out later on, he went on and got Allie Pete Wilbur's video and chopped it up and used it without her permission. This guy's out there now talking about this, about how DJ Lagway is going to go to Clemson. By the way, Clemson just lost out on Fletcher. What's his name? Westfall. All right. And he was, and the reason is that DJ Lagway is recruiting for Florida. Why would he flip? And that's that kind of crap that makes me sick at my stomach. As a journalist who has some modicum of objectivity, tries to be truthful, these people drive me crazy. He's not a journalist. He has a podcast. Anybody in the world can have a podcast. So
it's like me, buddy. I have no credibility. I just say what's on my mind. But I don't.
Not true. Not true. You have worlds of credibility. You played the game at a high level. You're the color announcer for the University of Florida football. You're a man of reputation. You know what you're talking about. We all know that. But this dude from Tennessee, why is he talking about Florida? Since when is he an expert on Florida? He's saying the stuff not even the great ones know. So it just makes me nauseated. People, please check. You said it earlier, some guy who had a list. You don't even remember who it is. Now, consider the source, folks, when you talk about who said it and why. That's why I want to know more about this thing at Northwestern, because there appears to have some legitimacy. It's about a guy who's had high character, and it may be right. I get it. I'm okay with that. Journalism. Kudos to the student newspaper. So I don't know. You can just make up anything, put it out there, say it's so, and it becomes so on the internet. It's terrible. I long for the days of real journalism.
Just got a text on the Titanmore text line referring to what you're referring to. He says, I saw that podcast. He's a fraud looking for clicks. So
yeah, which is a lot of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, buddy, on Facebook Live here, brought to you by Meldon Law. Greg says, a pretty good question here. I guess he's referring to the athletes now being able to make money. He goes, is it an advantage for Florida recruits not paying state taxes?
I guess it would be. I guess it would be. More for their parents if they move here.
Yeah, but he's referring to, I guess, these kids getting money now.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, they got to pay the income taxes. They just don't pay state taxes. I guess they can just up it that much more. It's such a gray area.
But don't they have to be here for like at least a year or something like that? So
Why?
Before they, I think because I know when my daughter was going to Mississippi State, she was not considered a resident of the residents of the state of Mississippi until after like a year or something. I can't remember exactly.
Well, she has to claim the residency, first of all. She claimed.
Yeah, but I thought you had to be there for a certain amount of time. Maybe
it takes a year before that's homestead and stuff like that. I don't know, Shane. Let's get a lawyer on here, but these are such small things compared to what they're talking about. The money they're throwing around today. I said yesterday, and I've said 1,000 times lately, that college football is changing more these 4 years, including next, than all time. The way it's changed, the landscaping, the NIL, the money, the transfer portal, now the championship round, including 12 teams, everything is changing. It's almost a different game. And I think Alex said this the other night. She says, college football doesn't know what it is. And that's the truth.
Well, you're right. College athletics, it's definitely changing. Ruzoga State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with Buddy Martin on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, we're going to have Rich Tuten, former Gator strength coach, longtime NFL guy. Get your questions ready for him in the second portion of today's program. Buddy,
Ask Rich, by the way, ask Rich if he agrees with me that Denver is more like a college town with a pro football team. They treat the Broncos somewhat like they were a college team because they're all in on the Broncos.
yeah, but you bring that up, and I've always said that I don't think I played in every stadium, but my favorite, and because it has that college feel, is Lambeau Field. There's
Yeah, it
nothing like
does.
it's nothing like the Green Bay Packers because it literally is like driving through Buddy Martin's neighborhood, and
Mm.
bam, there's a stadium right there.
Hmm.
People parking in people's
Yeah,
houses
yeah.
in their yards and things like that. So, but yeah, they're in the Chiefs. And speaking of that, I wanted to bring this up with you, buddy, because the big talk now among the Gator Nation is you know the redoing or renovating
Yeah.
the swamp. People are upset about it. What are your thoughts on this whole process?
Well, I'm of two minds, and I talked about this some last night on the show. Is that I know it's got to be done, and it certainly, has been lacking. The old gray lady has now become. I started writing a book about the stadium 20 years ago, and I got into the book about two chapters. And I told the publisher, I can't write this. It's not enough here to write a book about. I did some study of the history, what have you. But my friend George Solomon, who was sports editor of the Washington Post, he and I went to school. He wrote a little note to me the other day about the piece I wrote in the stadium saying 42,000 seemed like a lot when we were in school. What's funny is going over there, it becomes a swamp and 90 some thousand. Now they're going to dial it back. Some people are a little worried about dialing it back, saying, hey, you're going to ruin the atmosphere. And I get it because sometimes these architects and get going on something, they forget the purpose. I don't think that will happen here because I don't think Scott Strickland's going to let them. But keep in mind, Shane, you played in it. What was it? It's 90,000 on top of you and down the hole, hot, crazy fans. And it had decided some games in the past. You don't want to lose that, but you are going to wind up definitely losing some seats. I don't know how many. Maybe some have said maybe it could be down to 75, whatever. What will that do to the atmosphere? Do not change it. And I'm gonna get a bumper sticker that says, "Don't screw with the swamp. Don't touch that. Find what you have to do. Bottle it what is there and keep because that's part of the magic, Shane. You played in it, you know what it's like. So I think that will resolve itself. But that's why Gator fans are a little bit nervous about it. And to be honest with you, I'm a little nervous myself about it.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: the loudest stadium in the National Football League is Arrowhead, probably,
I've
and
been
it's
to
only
Mile High on some days
yeah,
where it's
but they're
really
but
loud.
you got to remember, all those stadiums are about 70 to 75,000.
Yeah.
So look, I don't want to change a whole lot to it. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
I've already told my listeners here what I would do if I was in charge.
Tell me.
So what I would do, buddy, is I would start where the band sits in the north end zone.
Okay.
Okay, that lower bowl, I would go from the band, not the band, they're still on bleachers, but go chair back all the way around
Mm-hmm.
to where the weight room tunnel is. Okay. Then in
Okay.
the south end zone, that lower mezzanine area, one side, I would chair back and kind of make tables and kind of place where you can walk around for recruits. And the other part, I would do the same thing for former players and their families.
Hmm.
And, maybe somehow put some touchdown terraces, seats in the south end zone.
Hmm.
I don't know how they would construct that. I would leave the damn east side exactly how it is. Let
Hmm.
the visiting people sit on the steel bleachers. Now you may want to chair back one or two sections because that's where they put the players' families. Chair back those. But I mean they're going to do the bathrooms and the concourses and the walkways
Right.
and all that. Get all that. But I'm just talking about that way you don't take out a whole lot of seats. But now you got the alumni on the lower bowl comfortable. You got the recruits taken care of. You got the former players taken care of. And you really don't change a whole lot to the swamp. That's what I would do.
Okay. That sounds interesting. You can't go back on the east side because you've got Alligator Alley there, which is only
Right.
historic district.
You can't build
Can't
anything over
touch it.
there.
No, you
Right.
can't touch it. It's only historic district. So that sounds like a good plan.
Maybe
Uh,
they. You think I should call Scott Strickland and tell him my plan?
I think you should. And a lot of people on my show have said, I hope Coach Spurrier is on that committee. And I would imagine he would be. I'm not sure who is on it, but Chip Howard and that gang. We'll see who they get. Look. It starts with me with Camden Yards. When they changed the stadium at Camden Yards and they kept the character of Old Memorial Stadium there and did it, became a really great place. And they model, a lot of people model in baseball Camden Yards. You've got to retain a lot of the old somehow and build it into the new. I'm not an architect. I don't know how to do that, but I think it is time to do it. But here's what scares me, and I know this is just talk. When you sit and talk about what you're going to do, all bets are off. Every plan's got to be considered. And I personally asked Scott Strickland and Chip Howard the day they previewed the new facility. I was over there about the plans for the stadium, and they were so far off. Then I said we can't think about it, but everything is on the table, including moving the stadium. Now that would be a big mistake.
Yeah, I can't do that. That would really bother me if they did that for sure. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go visit them at peachlanddental.com. Buddy, SEC Media Days next week. Gators are taking Ricky Pearsall, Jason Marshall Jr., who I think is a phenomenal player. I said it last year.
He is. You're right.
He's big time. And then Iguaquin, Kingsley Iguaquin, the center. Any thoughts about those three gentlemen?
Well, it sounds like the boilerplate kind of guy you want to have. I raised this on my show with Franz last night. Do you take a Graham Mertz there? No. Well, I can see why not, because you don't want to separate he and Jack Miller too much. But your QB is usually a guy you take. Perhaps not. I would kind of like to have seen it, but I'm not sure who I'd leave out. There's a couple other guys that could have taken that are impressive too. But let's not make too much out of it, okay? It's just a PR deal, and it's a tribute to the kids they're taking, and it's a good group.
You're not going to media days, are you?
I'm not going this year. I think some of my guys might be there, but I'm not going to go. It's in Nashville. We're just gearing up to go to Utah, which is not that long afterwards. We got some people in Utah going to Utah, which I'm really excited about. I will not make that trip. It's too far for me, but I got 2 or 3 who are going to make that trip, and I'm excited to watch it. And that's the game when I did the show with McElroy yesterday and Cole Kulik. They're all pointing toward that Utah game. It's a national showcase Thursday night, competitive game. We don't yet know who Utah's quarterback is, but we know they got a heck of a coach. And Kyle Whittingham's been there since 2000 and what? 2008. Well, 2005.
2005, yeah.
Think about that.
He's got a great program. There's no question.
He has.
I was looking at the schedule the other day. I thought like our game was like one of the first games of the year. It's not. There's about 10 to 12 games the week before our game.
Yeah, right. But they're not big ones.
No. We got another text here on the Titan Mark text line for you, buddy. It's from Jim. He says, buddy, I'd like to get your thoughts on the Gators that were drafted in the Major League Draft.
Well, it looks like they did quite well. Not as well as LSU. My gosh, they did great. A lot of people are wondering about who got picked where. I think Hurston Waldrop got a great gig going home as he did. And I think we all knew that Trenton Thunder would go up there, either one of the first 4, but he wound up, why it did, going to a place where he can excel. The Rangers are really a good team. They got a left fielder that's so-so. He can play left or he can play center. The power he brings to that stadium, he may hit 45 home runs. I mean, eventually. So I think it's a great fit, better for him than what perhaps he'd have gone one of the first 3. So he's sitting pretty. All the way down to Rivera, the Cubs, the 2 guys going to the Cubs. So I was talking to Steve Russell yesterday about this, and they did quite well. It looks like they may score a couple too on players that they had offered scholarships to who might not sign. We'll see about Echeverria and what have you. So I think overall, it was really good for Florida, and that brand name's out there. And this is Sully's time now. The next 2 or 3 years, he's got to get back and win that thing.
Yeah, I really do, as you said. I think Wyatt Langford got is going to a great spot. That place, that ball carries in that stadium because you can close the roof. I want to say the center fielder's a young. He was the guy in the home run derby, right, for the Rangers, number 53. I don't even know his name.
I'm so mixed up on that right now. I know that that Wyatt can play left field. The left fielder apparently is not hitting for a very high average right now.
Yeah, but I think their center fielder is a very good young player, and he
Could
was in the
be.
home run derby
Right.
contest last night. I
Who
don't follow
was
the
it? What was
Rangers.
his name? Where's Dan when we need him? I
Well,
couldn't.
it's all those Cubans. Like the entire deal
Oh yeah,
were
I
the
know.
Cubans and Pete Alonso
Yeah.
and the little young kid from Baltimore.
Alonso didn't have his pitcher last night. His pitcher had a sore arm and couldn't go. So he knew going in it was a disadvantage. And it's too bad because he might have hit 5 or 6 or 7 more. But man, there's some balls flying out of there. And you got to give it up to those guys. Guerrero, wow, what power he's got. But hey, Rosarino finished second, man. I'm proud of my Ray right there. And I love what they do with him when they have Randy Land in left field where they all get T-shirts. And when he hits a home run, they get a free drink and all that. He's such an exciting player to watch. Not necessarily a big time home run hitter, but a power hitter. So he did well. He finished second. So good job by Randy Rosarino.
Yep, for sure. All right, buddy, who you got on the program tonight?
Tonight we've got our friend from the Gainesville Sun. David's going to join us, Whitley, and we'll talk to him. Plus, we got some of our own people. Our young up and coming Matt Corderaro is going to be on the program. It's going to be a jam-packed show. We're going to have fun tonight. And folks, stay tuned. We got lots of plans for the show, which we're going to announce in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Going to be different, fun, and more inclusive, and maybe another day with a nationally known figure. All right, we're proud about that. So, almost as good as the Shane Matthews PodUp with Matthews show.
That's right. That's right, buddy. Hey, real quick, let people know if they want to subscribe to Gator Bait Media.
Yeah, please do, folks. We're just a small mom and pop doing this, trying to keep alive. You've been really great to us. Please go on to GatorBaitMedia.com. Look for a plan for yourself and sign up. You got some terrific stuff, guys like Franz and Matt and Kyle and the whole team doing stuff. And so we'd love to have you come join and support us. And we'll bring you some stuff you don't get elsewhere. One of these days, Shane Matthews is going to write an article for us.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I can talk to you because I'm not a good typer, buddy. I'm one of those guys that just pecks. I never learned how to type. So
Hey, my dad worked in the business for 60 years and always hunting peck.
but I will tell you this: my mom was an English teacher,
Yeah,
and my grammar is superb. I may not speak it well, but you put it on paper,
yeah,
I can tell you when you screw up because there's nothing that irritates me more than when people use I incorrectly.
yeah, yeah. And
It
you're
should
right.
be they
Me.
don't. It should be me more.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
But they want to sound like they're real intelligent and they
yeah.
use I incorrectly. It
Yeah,
drives me
and they
insane.
use me incorrectly. So
Yes.
yeah, you're right. And Shane, I have no doubt they have new programs. I'm gonna find you one where you can talk it into print. Okay, really, you can. And so we got to get the color broadcaster for the Gators to do a show, do a column for us once in a while for Gator Bay. You be great at it, you know. Hey, the HBC's talking about doing one once in a while now.
You know what? I'm gonna. We talked about this last year, and we got to get to Coach Tuten here in just a second.
Yeah,
But some radio booths. I think Frangie and them do it with Tony Baselli up in
right.
Jacksonville. They have a
Mm-hmm.
camera in there,
Right.
and when Frank gets excited, so we've talked about possibly putting a camera in our booth.
Well, you should have one in there.
Well, shoot, buddy. I get upset a lot of times.
Good. We want to see you get pissed off. That's what we want to see.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Shane Matthews is going to be an author soon. Stand by, folks. Big news. Thanks, Shane.
All right. That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take a quick timeout. Got to get loose, folks. Getting ready to do some push-ups and sit-ups and squats and sled pulls and all that stuff. We're going to have former Gator strength coach Rich Tuten join us on the Titan MR Hotline. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Visor's Rooftop, Bass Pro Shops, Dave & Buster's, Fat Tuesday, Starbucks, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the hottest restaurant in Florida in the heart of Gator Nation. That's Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. I want to thank Buddy Martin for joining us on the Titan More Hotline. We had Coach Tuten lined up, or he was on the line, and we lost him. So we're trying to get him back. And we are working on that as we speak. So in the meantime, if you missed it last night, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. won your home run derby. Tonight is the All-Star game. Pat Fitzgerald, head coach of Northwestern, was fired yesterday. Well, that's getting ready to be a mess. He's hired a big-time law firm to go after his money, I guess. And so we'll see. We'll see how that happens. So we're still trying to get Coach Tuten on. We had him. And let me see if I can get him on here. I had his number here. Anyway, that's live radio for you folks, or live podcasting. If you missed it, Media Days next week. We're probably going to have Brent Beard on Friday because he's going to be there all week and probably won't have time on Thursday to do our program. He'll be doing some interviews. But the Gators are sending Ricky Pearsall, Jason Marshall Jr., and Kingsley Aguaquin. And I like those three picks for Coach Napier going up to Nashville. I wish I was going to Nashville. Maybe I will. Last-minute trip, and we'll go up there, but I doubt it. All right, let's see if we can get Coach Tuten. Still no Coach Tuten, Zach? All right. All right, he's joining us right now. We're educating Coach Tuten on Zoom. And if you got any questions or comments, shoot them to us. Coach Tuten,
Hello.
can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you.
How you doing? You're on the you're live. I appreciate you taking the time. We're now joined by Rich Tuten, longtime strength coach. Coach, we got a lot of questions here for you, but first I want you to just let people know what you're up to these days.
Well, that is a good question. I'm actually just starting out trying to get a podcast online myself, and started a new web page, to go with that. I have not really been that involved with the strength training field since I retired 10 years ago. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, a lot of road biking is my biggest hobby. And just working out, enjoying life. And, I just felt like I was missing part of my life because this was such a huge strength training and conditioning and everything that goes in that, the relationships you build with the athletes that you're working with. That was a big hole that I was missing during those years, and it took me a while to realize it. That's why I was feeling, thinking, mood changes, whatever that I was going through. And since I've started this a couple of weeks ago, it's amazing how things start to turn on again in my mind. I think I have forgotten more than I remembered about this subject, and so I'm really excited about it. I think I laid it out there. I'm going to try to help whoever I can, and with all aspects of that goes with the strength training, as far as the lifting parts, the running, conditioning, nutrition, supplements, anything that they want to really work on. Speed. I've trained Olympian marathoners. I've trained professional golfers, Olympic swimmers, all conference players, all American players, all NFL players, thousands of athletes, 26 different sports. So I think it's coming. Like I said, it's coming back to me, and which is very exciting. And I just wanted to to get back into it and just fulfill what I think I was born to do.
Yeah, that's awesome, Coach. What people don't realize, I never had to work out under Rich Tuten. When I came in as a freshman, you left, and then when I
Right.
graduated, you came back to Florida. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you were with the Gators. Was it 80 through 87? And then you came back like 92, 93 through 95, correct?
Yes, I left in June of '88.
Yeah, right when I
before
came in as
the
a freshman. Yep.
Yeah, you probably just came in July for the summer session, and I had just left to go to the University of North Carolina, and then I was there for 5 seasons at North Carolina, and then came back to Florida in '93, January of '93, and stayed there for 2 years. I had no idea it was only going to be for 2 years. But a good friend of mine, Mike Shanahan, who I coached with at Florida in the early '80s. Mike was the offensive coordinator under Charlie Pell. So we knew each other. And when he became the head coach of the Denver Broncos, they gave me a call and asked me if I was interested. And I flew out there and sat down and had a good talk with Mike and the trainer and met some of the players. And, it just seemed like a good fit. And that's, where I was headed. And so I, came back and talked with the family, and they were excited. My wife wasn't crazy about moving again after just moving, 2 years earlier. But, we made sure that all that went through smoothly. And I went to Denver in February of '95 and retired in 2012.
Yep, and had a good run with the Broncos. We got a Facebook
Yeah.
Live question here brought to you by Meldon Law from Andy. He says, Rich, pound for pound, was Eric Rhett the strongest Gator you coached? And besides your homemade sleds, what other unusual training gadgets have you used?
Yeah. I wish I had a patent some of those.
You could have taken them to Shark Tank.
I've made 4 different sleds. The last ones I made, we called the players at Denver called it the Beast. I made it out of 2x6s, and had a total of 19 boards, weighed about 200 pounds. And we would push that, but also rig it so you could pull it. You could push it with one arm sideways to really like you were fighting off a player. I had a lot of DBs and linebackers had to squat down with their back to it in a parallel position to do back pedals, which was murder on the quads. So there was a lot of versions with that, and I made it different levels, different heights for different players. And let's see what else. In 1982 or 3, I made some bungee cords for speed training, and I made them out of rubber. And it's kind of funny how I got it. I went everywhere I could think of to try to find the rubber tubing that I wanted, but I finally got a hold of a lady in Ohio at a medical supply facility. Told her what I was trying to do. Of course, she thought it was, crazy, but anyway, she ended up sending me a box of 500 feet of surgical tubing, different levels, different strengths tubing, determined by how big the hole is in the tube. And I used that to attach to 2 players around a belt, and use that for speed training and resistance running. You ran against it, turned around, ran back, probably gain 20% of your, faster than you could run using it. So we were trying to train the body how to run faster. I'll give you an example. Ricky Nattil was a very fast player, and, he was running a 4.2, 4.3. So I hooked 2 players up with him in sort of a V shape, with Ricky on the starting line with a V in front of him. 2 players had it stretched out, and we timed him at 3.87.40.
Oh.
And that was what we were trying to achieve. Also made a deal where we had some rope that we used for resistance running. It was I can't remember what I called it, actually. This was a long time ago, but one end you hooked up to a stationary object, like we used a fence post, and it went through a pulley on one player, and the other player, it clicked onto his belt in the back so he could run. And this was 100 yards long, or 100 feet long, I'm sorry, the rope was. And the player, the first player that the rope was going through his pulley, all he had to do was touch the rope to make it stop. And the player in front got in a good running position, started off good running form, and the player would add resistance to the rope, which could stop the player if he wanted to, but he made the player run as hard as he could against the resistance. And that was good for training, especially a lot of the muscles that are hard to reach in the upper thigh, and the hip flexors, and things that are really involved in the run. There's also the glutes in the back. A lot of people don't understand that, or don't know, I'm sorry, not understand, but don't know that all your speed comes from the back, from your the back of your legs, the glutes, the hamstrings, the calves, for the power and explosion. And so we tried to do different things to really work on that. And we made some sleds at Florida with First, I made them with wood that you put plates on to pull. Then I made some longer sleds. They were 3 feet long, 2 feet wide. We call those the Cadillacs. And your partner would sit in the sled, and you would pull him whatever distance I set up that day, 50 to 100 yards. There was a good picture of Eric Rhett pulling me. I think I saw it on Facebook. Somebody had posted it on there. But that's a pretty good picture, and it was a great training tool. Sorry. And then a guy from Orlando that was in the steel business approached me and said that he could add some weight to the sleds if I wanted to by putting steel on the bottom of the sleds, and he could curve the front of it so it would not dig into the ground. And we attached it just with some wood screws to the bottom of the sled. And it was funny. The first day I used them on Florida Field, and that time it was AstroTurf. And the AD, Jeremy Foley's up there watching in his office. And the sled is leaving, after a couple of times pulling it across the turf, the sleds are leaving a trail. The steel got so hot it was melting the turf. So he got us off the field real quick. So we didn't do that anymore. So we started doing it underneath the south end zone. And we ran up the ramps, pulling the sled. And that was very good, very good workout. And it was awesome in the morning. The first group doing it was like at 5:30 a.m. And oh man, that thing lit up sparks. It looked like the 4th of July going across the concrete. And so that was pretty exciting there. But and then I used to I ordered maybe 50 pairs of 3-pound dumbbells for players to run in, run with, not knowing that would become a huge thing. And then I made a 40-pound weight vest out of an old jean jacket. Remember the blue jean jackets people used to wear? Where I sewed a pocket in the front, 2 pockets in the front, 2 pockets in the back, where I could put 10-pound plates in it, 40 pounds, and we would run up and down the stadium wearing that, not knowing that one day we would have weighted vests. Then let's see, there was something else that I can't remember. The vest was a really good. I used a bag like a ice bag that you would use, and I cut a hole in the top and put a piece of that tubing in it and wrapped it over my shoulder. So when I was training for a marathon, I had a Camelback that I could drink water out of, not knowing that they would come up with Camelbacks. So there was a lot of things that over the years that our whole idea was to try to make the team bigger, stronger, faster, and not to be able to produce something to make me rich. It never crossed my mind to until I was in Denver with the sled, the Beast, because ESPN did a special on it with me and Shannon Sharp and the girl, the reporter, can't remember her name from ESPN, but anyway, they filmed that and they showed it, so it became a big success, or not, people knew about it. So I had this guy come in and look at it and told him if I could do a patent. And he said, you can have somebody do a blueprint on it and we can get a patent on it, but all somebody's got to do is change the size of it and make their own. They just can't duplicate the one you have. So I didn't bother doing it. And I did not think about making it out of steel that some of them have now that they push. My biggest concern was, if I mass produce these things, they weigh 200 pounds, of shipping would kill it. But I did come up with an idea, and I don't know if I want to talk about that, but for making the sled, I've got a guy that makes plastic boards for decking, especially boat docks. And excuse me, if he can make the boards hollow, where I can put a couple of gallons of water in them, and then seal the board, so I can put the water in, take the water out, whatever. But if I could do that to 10 boards on a sled, you're talking about 100 and something pounds of water, and you could snap the boards together, make them to where the boards come in a box. You snap them together, and you got a sled. And then fill it with water. And actually, I was thinking about I could rig it up to where you could actually drink the water while you're doing the exercise, so you stay hydrated. And the more you drank, the lighter the sled got. The tighter you got, the lighter it got. So, yeah,
that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that I probably left out more than I can remember, but a lot of things that we did to keep it interesting.
Yeah, you were definitely an innovator. There's no question. And Coach, time has run by way too fast. We'll have to get you on again, but real quick, because I've had a million texts on the Titan Mar text line about this. In like a 1 or 2 minute, can you let us know? They want to know pound for pound who was the strongest player you ever coached at Florida.
At Florida?
Yes, at Florida.
Oh man. Pound for pound would probably be Eric Red. I did spot Doc Lucky on a 600-pound bench press.
Oh, that hurts.
But
just
Doc was weighing 270. Doc was weighing 275 at the time, so that's pretty damn strong. But pound for pound, it would probably be Eric, because he could do more than the offensive lineman, and that he would really give them a hard time about that, if you know Eric. But he was very proud of that. Eric was actually a really good workout partner of mine. We worked out together all the time personally, but he was a great teammate for sure.
Yes, he was. Well, Coach, we appreciate you getting up and taking the time to be on our program today. We'll have to get you back on, and good luck with your podcast. If there's anything we can do on our end to help you, just let us know. But I know the Gator Nation was glad to hear from you today. We appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, anytime, and I enjoyed it. Sorry I talked too long about one thing.
Oh no, but, that's that. I mean, what's crazy is all this stuff. Now, as you know, I'm not a big workout guy. Never was. Probably should have been. But all the stuff that you talk about that you invented back in the 80s, that's all you see now on college campuses or in pro locker rooms. So very cool that you came up with all that stuff. And we'll have to get you back on, because I know we got a bunch of other people that had questions for you, but we ran out of time. And have a good day, Coach.
Hey, anytime, Shane.
Yep. That's Coach Rich Tuten. Join us on the Titan MRI hotline. Silverback Concrete is a family-led team of heavy concrete specialists that build commercial structures with unrivaled quality. Silverback Concrete, you stand on it, we stand by it. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Again, we want to thank Buddy Martin and Rich Tuten. That's pretty cool. I mean, the stuff that he told us there, folks, that's what everybody's training with now. Definitely an innovator. There's no question about it. We will see you tomorrow. Time went by way too fast. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow. Take care.